Swords and Souls, Memoir of the Bear, Part 1, Volume 2, by S.R. Solomon. Available from Google Books, Lulu.com, Amazon, Waterstones, and online from any book internet sites. This is an excerpt from Chapter 8, Time of Passage. Let the sorcery begin.
I call upon thee, fair folk magic, Excalibur be ours. 7 planets, 7 spheres, 7 gates swing open. I lift my arms and call the charge. This incantation be spoken.
Instantly, as the last word fell from his lips, Excalibur fell away from her side, and with great speed it flew towards him. He caught the scabbard with his bloodied hands and strapped it around his own waist. But Morgan was coming to her senses, and fury enveloped her. Looking at him, her eyes became completely black, and he saw Pwyll moving upon her form, covering her in dark shadows. Merlin could hardly believe his eyes, for he thought the entity would be trapped deep inside her heart and soul, and would be unable to escape and show its form inside the crystal cave. But he was wrong. "Give it back, son of a whore! Give me Excalibur, or the phantom of death will rip thee apart!"
Never!
Thou cannot succeed over me, for thou art weak. All fair folk shall be crushed, such as thou wilt be,
hissed the Phantom of Death, low and deep, using the mouth of Morgan Le Fay.
Merlin knew that Pwyll spoke, and he also became aware that the entity had almost taken shape and form over her own body, and its bony fingers he saw slowly pointed towards him. Merlin quickly made his own chant, but he felt Excalibur move unnaturally upon his side, and he was forced to hold onto the healing scabbard, or Pwyll would have taken it back with his corrupt, evil sorcery.
Enough of this! Roared Pwyll in its slow, deep voice, which echoed around the cave, shattering more crystals as they came falling from the ceiling and crashing to the floor. Merlin sent his magic towards the malevolent entity, casting the best of his spells, but both Pwyll and Morgan Le Fay were too strong for him as they hexed him together.
Suddenly, from Merlin's feet upwards, he began to freeze. Coldness surrounded him, but still he held Excalibur fast to his side, and Pwyll's sorcery could not force him to release it. The cold froze him solid as it climbed his whole body, and Merlin looked down, and he saw that he was encased in crystal, stone, and ice. He tried desperately to free himself, but his body was weakened, as now the foul sorcery had crept to waist height. Unable to move any part of his body, he watched as the Phantom of Death's evil magic took hold. Frozen in time, he could now only blink, for his arms were locked solid in the stone and crystal. Pwyll tried its best efforts to free Excalibur, but its own magic now prevented it from doing so, and the demon could not dislodge it from Merlin's grip. The entity flew into a fearsome rage, and it roared and screamed, deep and loud, sending yet more crystals crashing to the floor. Merlin was now encased in the hard stone, yet still he lived. He watched as Pwyll's dark essence and Morgan Le Fay danced around him in triumph. Soon his eyes became fixed also, and he could not even blink as Morgan spat upon his rock-hard face. They both made mockery of him, and Merlin screamed inside, but he made no sound, as no words could fall from his mouth. Merlin now stood frozen in time and space, his torture never ending, encased in the sorcery of the rock and crystal, unable to move.
Finally, both Pwyll and Morgan grew tired of this game, and Merlin watched as Pwyll's evil blackness entered into her heart and soul once more. She came over to him, and he begged in his mind for her to kill him and not leave him thus, but she could only hear his heart still beat slowly in his chest.
Thou shalt remain here forever in darkness, never seeing light of day, for never shalt thou break free of this place, never knowing if it be day or night, encased in thy living stone tomb for all eternity. Thou shalt go mad in a short space of time, and in the blackness thou mayst scream, but no one will hear thee, only thine own mind. Death will not come to thee, but only a life of living hell. In torment and despair, Merlin stood with a contorted face as he watched Morgan Le Fay spin on her heels, turning and chanting many times over. Her black cape of sorcery swirled around her with a life of its own as she vanished in a thin veil of blackness, and as she disappeared, he was left unable to move, encased in stone, crystal, and ice, in total darkness.